What's up, my dudes? Today I'm going to be teaching you how to incorporate witchcraft into your workplace, or if you're going to school, or just if you're out and about and you want to incorporate a little bit of witchcraft into whatever it is that you're doing, whether that be out when you're not at home, or just if you're at someone else's home, or maybe if you're like I said, if you're going out to work or you're going to school. Surprisingly, a lot of people that follow me actually go to school, which I don't know how I feel about that, considering that my page isn't for kids. But no matter what age range you are or whatever you're doing, this is a good video to do if you're trying to incorporate witchcraft into like your outside space and you're not really at home, but you still want to do a bit of witchcraft. Maybe you're going out and maybe you need to do a spell real quickly, or you're just feeling a little bit spiritual and you want to do something about it, but you're not necessarily at home or in a safe place that you can do it. This is just going to help you if you're in this sort of situation and maybe you want to do a little bit of practice. Now, the first thing you can do to incorporate witchcraft is to do either sigils or any sort of symbols. Now, I like to use sigils just because it's a lot easier to have a certain essence or a certain impact that you're looking for with a sigil, and also you can just say it's just a doodle or something. So maybe you're at work and maybe you're making food and you would like to use a sigil into your cooking. Just putting your sigils in and maybe stirring it a certain way, or if you have any sort of ingredients, putting it in a certain way into the shape of a sigil. This will just help you to not only incorporate witchcraft, but also get used to not only writing your sigils, but also coming up with them on the fly. So for me, whenever I'm doing any sort of cooking and maybe I have a big order and I have to do a lot of things at once, what I will do is, like, say if it's in some flour or something, I would write out the sigil in the flour and then make everything. So I'm putting that little bit of extra magic into whatever I'm doing. Now, whether this will actually have an effect on the actual person eating the food or not is pretty subjective. You could say that it only has effect if people know about it, or you can say if your intent is strong enough, then yes, people will know. But for me, it's just a more personal thing that I like to do when I like to incorporate a little bit of sigils into my work. Also, if you're doing any sort of cooking and you would like to use this into your sauces, if you're using a skeleton and you would like to use sigils for that, what you can do is once you put in your sauce as the base, then you can just have that going, and then you can sift around whether you want to do it clockwise or counterclockwise, or if you want to be really fancy with it and do a pentagram. This is just different ways that you can use not only the ingredients that you're using for your cooking, but also you can use directional magic and also use directions for whatever it is that you're doing. Sigils and symbols are very easy to do, and you don't really have to know anything special. Like, you could write your own sigils and then you can use that for your cooking. I'm going to be doing a video on making your own sigils and different sigils that you can use whenever you are incorporating sigils into your practice, but that's in a later video. If I already have it, then it's up here. But adding sigils and adding different types of symbols into your work will not only help you, but also will help get into the practice of making them. If you are a coffee drinker, I know a lot of different people, they do latte art, so it's different things that you put on top of the coffee. If you like to do sigils that way, if you're doing it for other people, like as a restaurant, or if you're a barista, you don't really do that because you might get some sort of comments on it. But if you're just making it for yourself or make it for your friends or your coworkers, then go right ahead. You don't necessarily have to tell them what it does. I would not suggest you do anything sort of negative, just because that is in a workplace, and if you depend on a job, you could be fired for just practicing your own rights. But I'm not going to get into all that, but just if you feel comfortable doing it, then you can do it that way. Also, if you would like to just write the sigils on something, this is also very helpful. Whether you want to write it on the back of your receipts to get, let's say, a bigger tip, or if you want to write it on the bottom of a cup to sort of enhance that cup and enhance whatever it is that you're putting into it. This is just little things that you can do to not only incorporate it into your practice, but also get used to using them. I know a lot of beginners, they don't really know when to use certain things, And I think the best way to get used to something is to use it often, and also not really worry about if it is going to have a day and night effect. As long as you're putting in your effort and maybe you're using that little bit of magic towards it, then it'll have an effect, and also you'll feel a lot better and a lot more comfortable. The second thing you can do is enchanting. Now this sort of goes into sigils, but it's also its own thing, because you don't have to necessarily write or incorporate a symbol into anything. Whether you just want to incorporate this using your protein powder and you would like to hit your personal PR, and maybe you want to last longer than you've ever done whenever you're working out. Doing a little bit of enchanting to either your pre-workout or your prep meals that you're doing, this is a good way to not only put your magic into yourself, but also to recycle the effects that you're trying to do. If you enchant over your entire prep meal whenever you're done, and then every time you go to that prep meal, you either say some sort of intention, or you say any sort of mantra that you want to have, let's say a good workout, or you want to max out your PR, or maybe you want to work out and not really feel sore after. These are just simple things that you can do to incorporate into your practice, and it's not necessarily something that you have to do every single time, but it's just something that will help your manifestation whenever you're trying to do something. And also, it's good to set that intention whenever you are doing something that you would like to have a certain intent for. It's always good to have something set in place whenever you're doing it beforehand, rather than just trying to do it on the spot. Like I said, you can do it on the spot. It doesn't really matter when you do certain things. All that really matters is that when you do have the effect that you're trying to do, then you actually do them, and that you are focusing on the intent that you're trying to do. And the third thing you can do is set up any sort of travel altar or any sort of spiritual items that you would like to have with you on the go. I'm going to be doing a video shortly hereafter about having a travel altar. I've seen a few videos on them, and I just want to make one that's basically for the beginners. So if you're not really used to having different items, or maybe you don't know which items you would have in a travel altar, I'm going to be doing a whole video on that. Again, if I have it, it's already up here. But just having a travel altar is something good to where, say you're alone in your car, or maybe you're on the bus ride and you want to do a little bit of something, you can have your altar set up and you don't really have to pull it out, have this full thing. Maybe if you just want to, you can have like something else. Maybe you can write a sigil with something that you have in your altar, or maybe if you have a candle in it, you can light the candle and do something quick. But just something that you can have with you, and you don't really have to worry about having your whole setup with you or having your whole altar with you. Just having a travel altar is something good that you can just do something with, and you don't really have to worry about having your full setup with you. This is also good if maybe you are not only traveling out of work or to school, but also if you're just out and about and maybe you're just waiting in line for something, or you're on the train, or you're just out somewhere and you want to do something with you. This is just something good to not only put you into a good headspace where it's not necessarily your space and maybe you're not used to having a lot of people around you. Just doing something very simple when you're either alone or maybe there's not a lot of people around you will get you comfortable with expressing yourself and also expressing whatever you're doing. I know a lot of witches, they try to keep very secretive about it, or stay in the closet, as some people like to say. But I just like to incorporate things that I know what I'm doing, and I know it's not going to affect other people. So I'm just going to be doing this for me. If other people want to stop me and maybe ask questions, or maybe try to have a conversation with me, I would just be very polite and just say, yeah, I'm doing this for me. I'm not really having a good day, or maybe I want to have a good day and I just want to sort of put that extra sort of energy into it. Then I'll do it that way. A lot of people, just because you're doing something, they do not necessarily have a problem with it, but they're just curious and they do not know what you're doing. So being a good person and just sort of trying to explain to them what you're doing, maybe they don't agree with it, maybe they have a problem with what you're doing. As long as you're doing is safe and you don't really incorporate anything else into your practice like other people, and you're not trying to like hex people just at random, then you're not really going to have a problem with them. Again, this is just from my experience. Maybe you're in a place where it's like a zero tolerance. In that case, a large piece of metal or just a very complex piece of metal with gunpowder and small ammunition in it is a good way to solve that problem if maybe people are getting a little bit antsy for something that you're doing for yourself. Not trying to say anything in particular, especially on YouTube, because I believe a video of mine was taken down because of that. That was on a different channel, but still, if you are having problems with that, having something on you to protect yourself is always a good thing to do. But as long as you're incorporating your witchcraft in a safe and not obtrusive way, then you should be fine whenever you're doing any sort of practice. Like I said, just because you're doing something for yourself does not necessarily mean other people will agree with you. It does not necessarily mean that people will be okay with it. So it's best to do things for yourself and try not to cause too much attention to yourself. Like, don't be out here like on the subway writing a big sigil on the door and then trying to like summon a demon or something. Like, don't do that. You're probably going to get made fun of, even if you are doing it for yourself, or maybe you aren't even seriously doing it, you're just wanting to practice your abilities. Don't do that type of stuff in public just because some people could have a negative reaction towards you, and you don't want that. You want to just be chilling, enjoying your life. You don't really want to bring negativity towards you, even if whatever you're doing is positive. So yeah, that's the end of the video. These are just a few different ways you can incorporate witchcraft into either your school or your workplace life, or just your outside of home life whenever you're doing something, or maybe you're on the go and you're out and about doing things. These are just a few different things that you can do to incorporate witchcraft. Oh yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the new subscribers. I've been getting big jumps in subscribers right now. I believe right now I'm at 390 something, almost to 400. I just want to say thank you for everyone who has subscribed to me and who is leaving comments and who is suggesting my videos, and everyone who is just supporting my channel in general, supporting all my social medias. I've had a few people shout me out on their own personal channels and also on their own socials, and I just want to say thank you for that. Every little bit helps. I am a small channel and I'm trying to grow this channel to as big as I can so I can help as much people as I can, and your support really helps that. If you would like to support me in any way, then just check the links in the description to where you can support me, or you can support this channel in general. And also, if you would like to contact me on any of my socials, those will also be in the description, so you can contact me whether you want to spell or you just want to say anything specific to me, then you can do that below. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Have a good day, night, life. Enjoy yourself and be happy.